If my mother, Jennifer, would look down on me today, I don't think that she would be overtly proud at the amount of things that I'm doing. She would actually, quite frankly, tell me that I needed to stop acting like I'm so strong all the time. Let's talk about it. I think that it's really tough to find healing directly after loss. Quite frankly, I think that it's impossible to find direct healing right after loss. And I feel like strength after loss is really becomes a role instead of a reality a lot of the time. We hear it often. You're so strong. You're so strong. You're so strong. Well, quite frankly, that's how you're trying to come across, or that's how I was trying to come across when I first lost my mom, was I was strong and then I had this strength. And then when people would tell me, "Hey, you're so strong," I'd be like, "Why would you say that? Why would you say that to me?" In reality, that's exactly what I was looking for, right? I feel like performing strength and strength being a mask that you're wearing is a really universal experience that all grievers go through, but isn't really talked about enough. And that's why I want to talk about it today. I want to talk about what strength performance really looks like when you're kind of faking that strength, and ways that you can combat it to, number one, normalize the conversation around grief more, and number two, really start to heal, really start to stand up for yourself, really start to make other people uncomfortable and not put your comfortability aside for the sake of others. So I believe that to perform strength and to like act like you're so strong really is looking strong without the allowance to be human. I think whenever you experience loss, you really try to become more palatable for people. I talk about this often. I will continue to talk about it. You really diminish yourself and diminish how you're feeling, because death and grief is such an uncomfortable topic. It is. But hey, like, if you're uncomfortable, know that I am more uncomfortable because I watched my mom die. Performing strength becomes a habit. And if I look back in time, the first time I remember really acting like I was stronger than I really was at the funeral. The funeral happened about a week later after my mom died, and funeral happens, and I'm standing in the foyer of the Catholic Church. I don't think they call it the foyer, but I'm honestly not remembering what it's called right now. But anyways, I'm standing in the front part of the church, and everyone's flooding in, and I'm greeting people, and I'm really comforting others around my lack of comfort. How weird is that? And we all do it. Don't act like you don't do it. We all do that. I'm comforting you because you're uncomfortable because I am uncomfortable. I'm in the foyer of the funeral. I'm comforting people. Funeral happens. And then afterwards, you have the little shindig where everyone gets a little bite to eat. Everyone talks to the family. The weirdest thing about my mom's funeral was that in order to enter the place where everyone was getting food, you had to say hi to me and my family first. And I don't even know how this happened or why this happened, but you'll picture this. We're standing at the only entrance, greeting everybody that's coming in. So there's like a line happening to get into the place to say hi to us. Oh, looking back, I'm just like right now in this moment recognizing how insane that is. But it was nice. We said hi to everybody, but in that moment too, I was performing the strength. I was acting like I was so strong and then getting irritated by people telling me I was so strong. Huh? You really can't get mad at people for telling you that you're strong, because you're trying to come across that you are strong. So when they tell you that you're strong, that's how you're trying to come across. So they're just telling you that you are. Anyways, this can look different for everyone, and it can show up differently in everyone's life. A few examples: smiling when you're absolutely wrecked inside. Prime example. Like I said, somebody's coming up to you, you're absolutely feeling wreckage, and they're talking to you like normal, which is fine, but you're showing up and you're presenting as happy and fine when internally you feel like jumping off of a bridge by saying, "I'm good," because you don't want to make anybody else uncomfortable. "Hey, how are you? Like, how are you feeling?" You're like, "No, I'm good. No, I'm good." No, you're not. No, you're not. Why are you saying you're good? Also, quick side note. Let's cut "I'm good" in 2026. Okay? We're going to start using different adjectives. When someone asks you how you're doing, or quite frankly, when you ask someone how they're doing, say, I don't want to hear I'm good. I want any other adjective. I don't want I'm good. I don't want I'm great. I want something else. I want a different adjective. Switch up the adjectives in 2026. But that's another way that I believe a lot of us have this this persona of strength is we straight lie to people. You're lying. You're lying. If somebody says, "Hey, how are you?" and you say, "I'm good," you're lying. Unless you are good, then, like, sure, but, like, if you're grieving and you're in the deep grief of it, like, you're not good, okay? It's okay to say that you're not good. We'll get into that in a little bit. Another way this can show up is being the dependable one when all you wanna do is fall apart. Whenever my mom died, actually, maybe this was when she was in the hospital still, and we would all go back to our house. My dad's a chef, so my dad was always cooking for everyone, and I think that actually brought him a level of comfort and normalcy, so it was a good thing, but in that same way, like, performing strength. For me, I'm cooking for people, I'm calling people, I'm making sure other people are okay, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, don't get me wrong, but I do think that it's you putting your grief to the side and showing up with this face of strength, this warrior face of strength when it's just an act. It's not actually a part of your character in that moment. It's a character that you're playing. That was a word for somebody. There's a shift that occurs from how can I look as okay as possible to what do I actually need? And God willing, that shift occurs for you sooner rather than later because you get to a point where you realize the people pleaser in you has got to cut it out at some point. Okay. Shift from how can I look as okay as possible so that people don't feel uncomfortable around me to what do I actually need? Okay. So ways that you think about how do I look okay? How do you answer when people ask how you're doing? Like I said before, oh, I'm good. No, you're not. How do you go to work and not cry in the middle of a meeting? How do you sit at dinner with friends and pretend that your life is still normal? I remember going to dinner with my friends shortly after my mom died, probably like April. So like really shortly after my mom died. And I was sitting at the table with them and it was so uncomfy, you guys. Like it was so uncomfy. Everyone was kind of walking on eggshells. I I just remember nobody really knowing what to say or what to do. And which is totally okay, by the way. It's uncomfortable. It just is. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And that's okay. Right. But it's just, I ended up acting completely okay because I wanted everyone to feel comfortable. It's interesting. Like, if I could go back in time, I would have just told them, hey, I need you guys to be normal for me right now. All I need right now is a sense of normalcy. Like, that's what you guys can provide for me right now. Obviously, I didn't do that. But when you're thinking to yourself, like, how do I look okay? It's you're managing your grief in public. Like, you're trying to manage your grief. You're trying to manage something that's not manageable. I say that to my manager all the time at work. You're trying to manage something that's not manageable, i.e., your girl. Your that question, how do I look as okay as possible shifts to how do I look okay to the outside world? That shifts to what do I actually need right now? And that might look like, oh, maybe you need to leave the party early. Maybe you need to say no to things. Maybe you need to talk about the person that you lost, even if that makes everybody in the room uncomfortable. Maybe you need to cry without saying sorry for it. I recently started seeing someone, nobody freak out. Okay. Nobody talk. We're not talking about it deeper than that. But I recently started seeing someone and I had just finished up a good shower cry. It was one of those sit on the floor shower cries. And I literally just stood up, got out of the shower, and I get a FaceTime from him. And I answer the FaceTime, and he was like, oh, were you crying? Yeah, I was. And my initial feeling was I really wanted to apologize for that. I really wanted to say sorry because I didn't want to make him uncomfortable. But then I stopped. I was like, yeah, I just really miss my mom today. And that was the first time in a long time that I didn't apologize for crying. I didn't apologize for my grief. And that's a big shift that occurs. Like, maybe you need to cry without being sorry for it. I need to cry right now. Why am I sorry for something that I need? You shouldn't be. And the shift that I'm talking about really is where healing can be found. It's not when pain disappears. It's not when you move on. It's really when you stop trying to organize your grief. You stop trying to manage your grief so that people feel comfortable about it. Like I said, I'm going to say it again. Listen to me so clearly. Grief is uncomfortable. Loss is uncomfortable. Make people uncomfortable about it. Newsflash, that is uncomfortable. And that's what I want to do here with you. That's the point of this whole podcast, is to normalize the conversation about grief. And that is a way that we can do that together. Once you talk about it more and you allow other people to feel uncomfortable about it and you start talking about it more and more and more, the less uncomfortable grief becomes for the outside people, for the people that haven't experienced it. Normalize the uncomfortability around grief. Please, we're exhausted. We need we need some normalcy, okay? Please. I also want to throw this out there too. I've talked about the grief filter before, but what I believe the grief filter is a way for you to flesh people out, to just filter out people and things and conversations and all that, right? All that jargon. This is another prime example. If you are actively talking about what you need, opposed to how you can put on the filter to look okay to the outside world, and somebody gives you for that, maybe it's time you're not their friend anymore. Maybe it's time that you stop and say to yourself, I am not the same person I was before I lost my person. I am a new person in grief. And if you can't be okay with what I need right now, maybe you're not the right friend for me right now. And that's okay. It's really sad. The grief comes with, you don't just lose the person that you lost. You lose a lot of other people too. That's a part of it, and that's okay. What is important is what you need and where you are at. Stop trying to make other people more comfortable about your grief and about your loss. It's not your job. Now I want to go through the stop performing strength checklist. All right. This is a checklist that I created. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, if you do this, here's what you can do instead. What this will do is really allow for you to rewire your brain. Number one, switch it from how can I perform to this is what I need, right? Here's some more examples of that. If you automatically say I'm good when people ask how you're doing, try replacing it with something honest but simple. Hey, today's actually a little heavy for me. Or I'm hanging in there. Or some days are still hard for me. And honestly, just telling truth in one sentence like that really breaks the performance piece of strength. It really makes you step forward and say, I'm going to be strong and tell you how I'm actually feeling. I'm going to actually be strong instead of trying to act like I'm strong. If you tend to downplay how much you're still hurting instead of softening it for other people, maybe try naming the reality. I still really miss her. Or grief is weird. And some days it's still really present for me. Or I think about them all the time. Like I said, some of these statements might make the person on the receiving end uncomfortable. Not your problem. Please hear me. I want to make that very clear. Although I understand that you might not want people to feel uncomfortable, put your comfort first, at least every once in a while. If you avoid talking about the person that you lost, try bringing them into the conversation. You can say, wow, my mom used to love this song. Or this really reminds me of them. Or they would have thought this was so funny. Recently I was in Mammoth with my friends and Dancing Queen came on in the car. And without me even saying anything, my friend Kristen was like, oh, Jen is so here right now. And I was like, yeah, she is. It was just the coolest thing ever for my friend to just know and say. But she would have never known to say without me first constantly bringing up, oh, my mom loved the song. Or outwardly crying when the song would come on, right? What a cool thing that as you communicate and as you share those things with other people, they start to pick up on it. And then they make you more comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. You're allowed to keep them present in your life. You should keep them present in your life because they are present in your life. As I move forward in my life, my mom is so present with me everywhere that I go. And I'm allowed to overtly keep her present. I don't gotta keep her in. That's the whole point. Keeping her around is sharing her with people. So do that. Share your loved one with others. They deserve that. They deserve that. Stopping the performance does not mean collapsing, okay? Doesn't mean the world's crumbling. It's just a shift that's occurring from how is it that everyone out here is going to see me and think I'm okay to what do I actually need right now? It's an important shift, and I hope that it happens for you. I hope that this episode encourages that for you. Sometimes what you might need is space. Sometimes what you might need is a conversation. And sometimes what you might need is just to say their name out loud. And right here and right now, I am giving you full permission to do any of those things for yourself. Healing really starts when you stop trying to manage your grief. You don't have to manage it. Let it come and sit at the table. That's all it wants. Give it space. Healing will come. Anyways, I'm proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you. Grief is hard. This is hard. But you know what I'm grateful for today and every day? The fact that we're in it together and that you're here means a great deal to me. Drink some water today. We'll talk soon. Love you. Bye.